Hey everyone, just making a quick video on what I've gone through today, trying to get to Sierra Leone. Um, so, as you all might know, I believe it was 3 days ago or 4 days ago. It was basically on Sunday. Um, France decided to lock the borders with England, with the United Kingdom, basically. But because of that, they cancelled all the flights. And then also they blocked the port so that the ferry would not cross, and also the tunnel they closed that, um, and basically that led to a lot of chaos because there was a lot of lorry drivers who had to find a place to park, and I believe the UK initiated um, something called Operation Stack, which was to turn the motorway into a temporary car park, and then they also used an airfield to stack these lorries, and it went up to like 2 3 thousand, I think. um but anyway, thankfully, after 48 hours, France opened the borders, but obviously with some further restrictions. So um before you could transit through France on your way to wherever you're going, but now you have to have a negative COVID test. So it could either be a PCR test or a antigen test. Um, I believe they also accept lamp test. So as long as it's negative, that's what they're looking for. Um, Also, like, you have to fall within certain categories. Um, but I found out about that, I believe on, when was it? I believe on Tuesday evening. And because I had to come to the airport on Wednesday, there was no time for me to book any PCR test. So that was out of question. So the only test I could book was the antigen, because that one, the test result comes back after 40 minutes. Because the PCR, it takes 48 hours for the test results to come. So if you do the maths, it just doesn't work out. But so thankfully, I was able to book the antigen test to do at the airport. And even that, I did it just in case. And thankfully, like, I was really lucky to actually have done that, because it became very useful for me. So this morning, I obviously woke up, called the air travel agency which I bought my tickets from, and I asked them whether France would accept the test that they do at the airport, because the airport that I have to depart from is Heathrow Airport. So the travel agency checked and they said it's fine. So then I started to prepare to catch my bus, because the bus should come at like 1:30, and then it takes about 3.5 hours to get to the airport. So I ended up reaching the airport at 4:30, and from there it was just chaos for like the next 6 hours. It was chaos because first of all I had to go and obviously take the antigen test, um, which when I went there, it was just like there was just so many people, so many people obviously waiting for a test. And what I didn't realize back then was that a lot of these people were actually people who wanted to cross the channel via the channel tunnel, um, and obviously they also need a negative COVID test. So they wanted to take the test, but actually they couldn't, because only people who are flying can actually take the test at the airport. You see, and it makes sense because I mean that's why it's at the airport, you know. Um, so, but at that test center, I could not take the test there because there was such a huge backlog that they told us to go to the next terminal, which was Terminal 5. And to get there, obviously, you have to go through a lot of lifts and then take the underground from Terminal 2 to Terminal 5. But thankfully, I was able to do that. And I went there, and the line was not that long when I went there, but still, it was quite a feat actually. Even finding the place where you do the test, it was like such a difficult task because the airport is so big and there's so many places there. So, but anyways, um, finally I was in line waiting, and then um, one of the staff at the testing center came by and said at 7 o'clock they stopped testing, and I panicked because we only had 20 minutes before 7, and I was I was not like at the back of the line, but based on how quick the line was moving, I, I was I would not be able to take the test by that time. So I was really panicking now because I have to take that test. If I do not take it, then I will not be able to get on my flight. Um, because the testing center closes obviously around 7 o'clock, and like the next time it will open is the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning. My flight is at 6:25 in the morning, so this was quite a challenge. Um, but then somebody else clarified that that deadline, 7 o'clock deadline, is only for the lamp tests. The antigen test and the PCR test, they would continue doing them because obviously there was a backlog, so they wanted to like do as much as they could just to make everyone get their test. So which makes sense, I guess. But that was really lucky because I I ended up getting my turn. So obviously I went to the front and gave the lady my details. So you have to give your booking number for the test. You have to give your flight number, and also you have to show your passport and your email because the result goes to your email. So I did that, and then I had to wait for one of the rooms to be available because that's where they do the test. So I went there, sat down, and then the guy, did some stuff, by marking your names. I think they use like something like QR code to keep track of whose test they've done. So, but he was doing that. Then he finished doing it, and then he took out the swab. And next comes the painful part because he will stick it up your nose, and he will literally scrape the side of your nose, all the way inside. And like I almost like cried. Like I think tears, started coming from my eyes basically because this was just so painful. Um, and then once he's done, he will obviously do it for both of your nose, your nostrils, and then after that, it's just I think he gets to he mixes it, he puts it in a small um I don't know how to describe this thing, but it's like one of these squidges. He'll put it in. It's got liquid in there. He'll put it in, mix it, and then he'll obviously throw away the swab, and then he will now take the squidgy and squeeze some of the liquid on the test on the thing that has the test. It looks like a pregnancy test basically. So he'll squeeze it on it, and then he'll wait for the lines to show. And when the lines show, obviously he will record the results, but he won't tell you. But you can somewhat guess what the result is because he'll either tell you like, oh, you know, have a nice holiday or whatever. Like, he'll tell you that, which obviously indicates that it was negative because if it was positive, I'm sure he would react differently. So he'll tell you that, and then you'll go, and then after 40 odd minutes, you'll get the email saying that your result is ready, and you have to log into the website, to get the results. So, but that's where we're at now. So now I'm waiting for my flight, or rather for check-in to open because check-in opens at 4:30, and I have to wait for like 7 hours, 6, 7 hours. I have to wait, um, and the terminal where I am, Terminal 2, there's no chair. I mean, I'll turn the camera so you can see like what people are doing to cope with this. Um, if I can actually turn the camera, but like, see, this is where we sleep basically. Somebody is sleeping there. I'm probably gonna lay down here too, because there's no chair. Like it's quite odd because Terminal 5, where I did the test, there was chairs, like comfortable chairs and somewhere to charge your phone. So, but hey, it is what it is. Oops, almost fell. And as you can see, somebody sleeping on the floor. Like this is really bad. So,